Hello, 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 friends. This is Nicholas, and I'm here with my good friend.
Bridge, I'm back. I'm here, everyone. Just had to take a little bit of a hiatus. Not even a hiatus, it was just one time, but
It was the
oh,
holidays. Well, actually missed two. So we missed December 20th, which was my birthday. So you missed my birthday. Just saying.
wait. Back up. I missed your birthday.
Yeah, it was December 20th. But you know what? I'm used to people not noticing
Because
it
of
because
Christmas.
yeah,
It's just,
right. Most everybody travels sometime between the 19th and the 22nd for the holiday. So, it's
yeah, I was on a plane then.
and
That
see,
sucks, dude. I love birthdays. I love birthdays. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
please do
make it up
not
to you.
apologize. You were
I'm
on a
gonna make
plane
it up to you.
and
I'm
you were on it.
gonna
You had a tooty little child.
Oh my gosh, she was so tooty. Well, she was tooty on the plane coming back. So we were on a plane going to Maryland at that time. But on the plane ride going back, let me just tell you guys what happened. So basically,
Yeah, catch us up. Give us the tea. Spill it. Spill it.
basically the towards the end of our trip, we were like living in a hotel doing hotel foods and stuff like that. And the hotel food is not good. I remember, I mean, Embassy Suites, they try to hook it up and they do. They do their best. But I remember like looking around at that breakfast and I was like, ooh, this is bad. Like, this is not
Sugar,
good.
sugar, sugar, sugar. No
Yeah.
nutrients whatsoever. Sugar, sugar, sugar.
Poor food combining, fruit that's like wildly out of season. It's the middle of December, yet there's melons right there.
Right. Or
There's
did
like
you have some of the
refined.
translucent fruit where you start to be like, I can see through that piece of fruit and it's not supposed
Yeah.
to be see-through.
And it's like dead. It just feels like you just look at it and you're like, oh my God, this is going to weigh me down versus like give me energy and nutrients.
Yeah.
But like it's what you have available at the time, so you just do the best what you can with what you got. So she's also eating the hotel food. I'm eating the hotel food.
Mhm.
She her grandparents, they're awesome. I love them. But um getting ranch for dinner is not a good dinner. I know
Well,
she
right.
loves ranch and cheese, but ooh, not don't love that. But hey, you work with what you got, I guess. And we were not there, so
And the
then
holidays are not forever.
they're not forever. It's all good. And then now let's completely break this 1 year old out of her like typical nap sleep time routine. Get her up really early for a flight, and then she starts just like on the car ride over to the plane. Or to the airport. She just like starts tooting. So very very gassy, and it's just like it's very smelly too, like pungent gas, which she doesn't usually do. Like usually if she has gas, it's like non-pungent. It's just like maybe one or two here
Mhm.
and there, and it's kind of funny. But no, this was like every 30 seconds. I was like, oh, she does not feel good. And it was 4 in the morning. Oh, and so then in the airport she's tooting, in the plane she's tooting, and she's like not really like eating a lot either, which she doesn't do. Another sign that something is off because she is like she eats everything. She is an eater,
She is your
and
child.
yeah, she and Rob's. She like just eating everything. So then we get home, and I can tell she's just like really tired, and like nobody feels good after a plane ride, but especially when they already didn't feel good beforehand, and all the vata that comes with that. So
Mhm.
then we get home, and it's like an hour drive in the Uber, hour and a half, of
Oof.
course. Yeah, because LA traffic, living in LA, it's just kind of like what it is.
Yeah.
Then we get home, and then
So
she throws
listeners
up.
who are not local, LA
Mm-hmm.
is an expansive sprawling area, not just the city.
No, it's not. It's massive. It's massive. And then it's like there's traffic all the time. Something that should take most places maybe 10, 15 minutes will take an hour or two in LA. It's ridiculous. All right, so we get home. She throws up immediately. She just vomits, which she's never done. She's never vomited.
Was it vomit or was it more of a
It kind of
more,
did seem like a vomit. It, like because it definitely seemed like a like excess dosha was coming out, like excess
Can you
pitta.
explain vomina to the listeners?
Yeah, so it's a type of therapeutic vomiting where basically it was sometimes vomiting, usually vomiting is intelligent. It's the body's way of expelling something that shouldn't be there, an excess dosha, or something that's toxic that you shouldn't have had, or something. It's an intelligent way for the body to just rid itself of that. And so it did seem, just from observing the vomit, it did seem like a vomita, which is therapeutic vomiting, usually induced by practitioners or doctors, Ayurvedic practitioners or doctors, in a panchakarma. But the body can also do this on its own. And so I felt like her body did that.
The body does it best, actually.
Yeah, the body does it best. It does. And so her body definitely expelled a lot of, it was definitely acidic, it was hot, it was pitta, it was that like hyperacidity, a lot of excess stomach acid was just coming out. And I felt bad for her. I know she didn't feel good, and she vomited more that day too. And then she had, it just took a couple of days, and then she had, diarrhea, loose bowel movements. I could tell like her stomach was cramping too. It's not like she's verbalized. She's 1 year old, so it's not like she's telling me her stomach. You can just tell. And so I did a number of things. Obviously, the go-tos: congee, stewed apples, coconut water. Although she didn't really take the coconut water that well. She didn't. She
Yeah,
wasn't liking that.
listeners, stewed apples can tighten up and firm up your, your stools. But apples done poorly or combined poorly can actually cause diarrhea. So it's a very interesting, it's a very interesting dichotomy.
You have to cook them if you're going for that specific intention of reducing like the loose bowel movements and stuff like that. So cook the apples, and of course like had them separate from other meals. I had like stewed apples as a meal.
Yep.
For her, especially because her appetite wasn't that great, so she was eating smaller things anyways.
I mean, there's simple things, and I bet a lot of people would be like, "Oh, my grandma used to do that when I got sick," and you're like, "Yeah, she probably
Your
did."
grandma knows.
Because they worked.
Because they worked, exactly. And it's, yeah, so congee, stewed apples, and then I just got, intuition just kicks in. You're like, oh, I feel like she needs like more like cooling demulcent-ish type of food that has like excess nutrients in it. Like I felt like she needed like nutrients. Of course I was hydrating her, but I felt like her body just needed a little bit more. And then she started crying, of course, and she opened her mouth, and I saw 4 teeth coming in at once. 4 teeth right below the surface. So I was like, oh my God, you're teething. So of course there's excess pitta, and like the food and everything did not help matters from flying, and the hotel food and the restaurant food when we were traveling, all obviously that did not help matters. And then we're here, and then it's just worse. So boom, I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna make whey. I'm gonna make paneer, and I'm gonna use the whey to help with her diarrhea, because and her bowel movements, because it has lots of probiotics in it, and it has calcium in it, which will help the bones. Very nutrient rich. And then once she feels better from the whey, then I can give her a little bit of the paneer. And I did those things, and I literally watched her come back to life like a little flower that was deflated from feeling so crappy from before. Yeah, I made this like sweet potato lasagna. So sweet potatoes are easy to digest. They're cooling, and they're demulcent, especially when you cook them.
Can you define demulcent for people who don't speak English?
Demulcent is like hydrating and moisturizing to inflamed mucous membranes, which is what she was dealing with at that time. So it's very needed during inflammatory periods. So hot inflammatory periods where things have been burned away.
Vata is associated with bones as well, and so to have out of whack Vata while teething, because teeth are associated with bones, and so she had this Dhatu that's all out of whack / doing a very taxing process, especially for such a young body, it was a perfect storm for all kinds of derangement.
Totally, totally. And I like, it's just beautiful to go through. You know, as a practitioner, I watch people like adults go through that, and I help in that kind of way, and I give them foods and stuff to like remedy their disease process and their symptoms, and get them back into balance as a whole. But when you're a mom and you're seeing it happen to your child, there's a lot of different factors at play at that, but like it's cool. It's kind of interesting and exciting to see, because children, they respond to things so quickly, and like something as simple as whey in just a really small amount, boom, her bowel movements firmed up, they decreased. That she was having solid bowel movements at that point, and then she literally came back to life. And it was just maybe like a half a tablespoon in her drinking water here and there.
Well,
and it's just, it's exciting.
Yeah, and I don't know the level of our listeners' knowledge base, but like especially with a small body, if you're having diarrhea, that means more water is leaving the body, so there's a dehydration effect. So that demulcent that she was talking about is needed to help replace that, which is going out with that. So then she got a double whammy. She got demulcents that hydrated her, but then she's also retaining her own hydration levels without losing it via diarrhea. So
Exactly. So something like very simple, like fresh paneer and whey, it's just beautiful. I love seeing that. Like simple food. It takes 3 ingredients to make paneer. You can do it in 30 minutes. And then you have like this fresh cheese, and then you also have this like highly nutrient byproduct, the whey that's left over from that you can put in rice, that you can put in soups, that you can put in, you can drink as well. It just there's so many different uses, and I think more people need to know that it's just very easy. That can prevent, like, dehydration is very serious, especially in children. It's very serious. Children. Yeah, like very serious. And so that can prevent emergency type of situations. It's potentially life-saving. And chronic conditions too. Like, let's say that was never fixed or halfway fixed, or we just treated the symptoms, and it wasn't truly fixed. Like that dosha wasn't brought back into balance. Then that's that can lead to a chronic condition.
Well, right. Like taking Imodium just to plug it up doesn't fix it. Yeah. Imodium would be like a Band-Aid, whereas the paneer is an actual systemic medicine.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And it brings the whole body back into balance, everything. And so you move towards a state of health rather than a state of disease. And that's beautiful. That's Ayurveda. And we did it with 3 ingredients. 3 ingredients in 30 minutes. I'm sorry, but like that's just knocks everything out of the water, in my opinion.
But we do recognize that some people are busy, and that may not be something you can just easily do or even have access to. We do understand, in our neck of the woods, we call it food deserts. Like the ability to make paneer may not be super easy. I'm not saying California is the easiest place to do things like that, but
I mean, it's not just paneer. There's many, like stewed apples takes 5 minutes to make. Congee makes.
I'm not making any judgment. I'm just trying to point out that, like Greensboro, I literally wouldn't know where to go to get those 3 ingredients to make paneer, because I've just never done it before. You know what I'm saying?
It's milk. Oh my God. Listen up. Okay. It's milk. So organic whole milk, and it's, like lemon or lime juice, so you can find those lemon and lime at the local grocery store. Same with the milk, just get good quality organic whole milk. Nothing with cows have been treated with
nothing that's got added things like vitamin D or anything like that. None of that. Yeah, none of the mixed in extras that companies try to do.
I like Strauss brand. Here in the United States, Strauss brand is
have you heard of A? Is it called A or A Plus? I think is a brand. It's supposed to be more on the organic side.
I haven't heard of them. I can look into that brand in particular.
Yeah, and then I wasn't sure if it was like a style of making it, and I just was misunderstanding what people are saying. So anyway,
I'll look into that brand.
So lemon and limes, whole milk.
Whole milk, and then You could just do those two ingredients, but I like to use yogurt with it too because it helps to curdle more. So then I just do, like, let's say I'm making half a gallon. So I'm doing half a gallon of whole milk with a fourth of a cup of lemon juice and a fourth of a cup of yogurt. That's it. You bring the milk to a boil. You pour in the lemon juice once it starts to boil, and then it curdles immediately. And then you add the yogurt on top of that to make it curdle more. You leave that simmering for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then you strain it. You get the curdles. You can use a ladle. You strain it through, like I usually use a cheesecloth that's on top of like a fine mesh strainer, and then you put the curdles into the cheesecloth. Wrap up the cheesecloth, put it into the fridge for about 30 minutes to set, and then boom, you have fresh paneer, and then you have the whey that's left over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So listeners, most any place can figure out how to make it happen. But, you know, there are some constraints depending on where you're at. There are some locations in different countries and different states and different areas that have more or less access to things. And so sometimes you have to be creative, but what, you know, Bridge and I try to ring home is that we're going for the qualities of what you're consuming, not necessarily the compound itself, right? Like medicine is very, a pharmacological medicine is very specific. Like it's a chemical that does a specific thing. And so it's very restrictive. Whereas with Ayurveda, we're looking at the qualities of what it is we're putting in the body. So different things can be substituted depending on availability.
Yes. Sing it from the, yes, absolutely. And like, let's say you don't have those access to those ingredients. There's so many other things. We just named congee and stewed apples. And there's also like, I gave her like bananas, you know, baked bananas, which is one ingredient. And then like maybe some ghee and some spices with that too. So there's
Cardamom
many other things.
or cinnamon.
Yeah,
Cinnamon.
cardamom, cinnamon, maybe like some nutmeg, freshly grated. Nutmeg is great for diarrhea.
Yes, disclaimer on nutmeg. It can be psychoactive, especially if there's dehydration and especially if they're young. So be careful.
Yeah.
Adults not quite as a concern with fresh nutmeg. Child, definitely need to make sure that you're not overdoing it with nutmeg.
Right, exactly. It's just a teeny tiny little bit in food, obviously. So not like separate from food.
Yeah.
Not like I'm not making her
And
nutmeg
the
milk.
that you eat at Starbucks is not the same, friends.
It's
the
not.
same.
It's definitely not. Or the nutmeg.
I know. I
in
thought
like
something. They're like, I heard it's really good for your brain, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, you think that's nutmeg?
No, it has to be ground from the seed. But yeah,
The
just
nutmeg,
a teeny tiny pinch.
seed. The nutmeg seed is very pretty. I think I think it's gorgeous, especially when it has the red on it.
Yeah. I always have it in my kitchen. You know, it serves many purposes. So
Yeah. So, you know, and that was something I was talking with my client because, you know, he and I are we just moving on from just fitness related to Ayurveda and me taking him deeper into the stuff. And I brought him over to the book and I was like, yeah, this is the book about the potential pharmacological interactions with herbs. And so those of you out there who are already on, you know, Western medicines that are pharmacology based, you know, like, you know, pharmaceuticals versus nutraceuticals, you know, there are certain considerations when they're done in tandem. So you guys can't just willy-nilly start taking herbs. There are certain herbs you can because they don't have an impact. But things like nutmeg, which have a psychoactive potential component, could interact with psychoactive substances otherwise as well. So, you know, working with a practitioner or working with somebody who has a knowledge base, including a pharmacist who may have, you know, herb-based knowledge, would be best so that you can make sure that you're safe.
For sure. You know, making sure that you talk to your doctor beforehand. There's also a really good website. Because here's the problem. Let's just be real. You go and you ask their doctor, oh, can I use nutmeg with this? And they don't know. Your Ayurvedic practitioner, they don't know. They're going to say, I don't know, like, sure. Or I don't know, no.
Yeah, the sure is what scares me. Sure. I don't really think there's any problem with that.
Or they'll just say no, and then they'll scare you. And then so then it's just very confusing. And then a practitioner, might know the herbal side, but not so much the pharmaceutical side. And so they can really go off of the theory behind it. Of course, the theory is that if you have two things going the same direction, something that is like a sedative and psychoactive plus other sedatives that also are psychoactive, then you have, and there's different books that you can get. So Nick just came back with his books. So that is very helpful. There's also a really good, I don't know if you know about this, Nick, but there's a really good website that I usually encourage my clients to use, and they can take that information to their doctor if they want to, based off of what they learn from their medication and the herb. It's called HelloPharmacist. And HelloPharmacist, you can put in the herb.
And it's just HelloPharmacist.com.
Yeah. Search HelloPharmacist because there's a certain URL. So search HelloPharmacist herb drug interactions. And so there is, on one side you can put in the herb, and on the other side you can put in the medications, all of the medications that you're taking. And it brings up all of the animal studies and all of the theoretical evidence too, and all of the any human studies that have been done. It brings up all of those. So it'll say a minor interaction, a moderate interaction, or a major interaction. And then you can bring that, you can make a decision for yourself if you want, or you can bring that better to bring that to your healthcare provider and say like, hey, I'm thinking about using this. What do you think about it? Because you know my health history, because there's certain conditions. It's not just for, there's not contraindications just for certain herbs and certain drugs. It's also for certain conditions too, that certain people should not be having certain things.
And there are certain things that we wouldn't consider herbs, but they do have effects, like grapefruit juice. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's certain considerations around grapefruit juice. So there are even other ones that I probably haven't even heard of yet that are just, table foods where you're like, oh, yeah, my family eats that. Well, no, you can't eat that with your drugs. Sorry.
Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly. It's usually grapefruit juice and thyroid medications is what I know of. And there's also, speaking of thyroid, like cruciferous vegetables and the thyroid is not a good combination either.
Well,
Thyroid problems.
Cruciferous vegetables aren't good if you're prone to getting kidney stones.
Yeah. There's also like certain musculus kind of herbs, like marshmallow root and slippery elm. They're demulcents. Demulcent type of herbs can sometimes inhibit the absorption of other chemicals as well, like
Well, that's
like certain
another
medications
point
that
too.
you're on.
Like we talk about, so in Ayurveda, we talk about timing of consuming medications, sometimes whether they're herbs or like actual medications, based on the active times of particular organs or organ systems. So that can impact things. But then you have the timing of when you eat food and when you don't eat food, and which one's going to absorb better with or without food. And there's a dance that happens here. That's why it gets so complicated with people who are on multi-drug treatment plans, because there is a point where at least in America, the medical, people aren't talking to each other in a way that's competent to the person. And so I don't know how many times I've heard, after 5 years, a doctor or a pharmacist will look and be like, oh, you shouldn't be taking all this stuff together. But they've been taking it together for close to 5 years, like what? How does that even happen? But anyway, so one of the books I brought over is called Herbal Contraindications and Drug Interactions plus Herbal Adjuncts with Medicines. So some things that can go together that actually are helpful. But essentially, this book is 590 some pages of information. And then the other book I brought over, which I haven't even opened yet, I bought it because I was like, one day I'll read it. It is called Ayurvedic Pharmacology and Therapeutic Uses of Medicinal Plants, Dravyaguna Vignya.
Oh, I love. Wait, who's the author of that?
VDVM Gogte, Gogte. I've never pronounced that name before.
Send me a picture of that. I will.
And this book is... jeez. So it's over 800 pages first off, and then it has 300 pages of appendix. So it's a lot of information. So, we're very simply talking about this, but it is a very, well-studied thing. Remember, Ayurveda has been around for 5,000 years, so there's a lot of things that it knows. Now, what's cool is pharmaceutical and the pharmacy industry is probably going to know less than an Ayurveda person would know on principle because, Ayurveda is not going to change, whereas these new chemicals have their own considerations. So the gunas are still going to be the same, whereas these new age drugs aren't as known, but an Ayurveda person is going to know because of the qualities of it.
Right. And we're not, it goes both ways. And I feel like that's why some people might feel like they're ping ponged between the two like, we are not pharmacists. I'm not a pharmacist. I didn't go get a degree. I don't want to be a pharmacist. And I don't want to be a pharmacist either. I might have some theoretical knowledge on certain things and experience, but it's not the same. And the same thing with like people who are more Western doctors, like they don't have that herb knowledge. So the question, it gets very confusing for that person. So I like websites like that, the HelloPharmacist, so you can easily just put it in and then you can go to your doctor and see like, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think it's okay? Or should I change something? Should I have it in a certain way? Should I, it just makes you feel like you're more empowered and you can do something about it rather than being ping-ponged.
Exactly. And I think the other thing we should say is, if we're staying on this topic too, if you're wanting to transition from a more Western pharmaceutical based treatment plan, you can't just stop cold turkey. You've got to work with your health professionals to talk about your options to reverse course. A lot of these create changes in your body that, if suddenly stopped, could be dangerous in health challenges, like significantly, especially with heart medications, especially. So,
right.
While we prefer on principle a natural based approach, that doesn't mean that you can just jump between the two easily. Like I don't know about you, but your experience in the Western world is the way people just pick things up and put things down, right? Right now, everybody's injecting themselves with GLP-1s, and I'm like, okay.
Isn't that wild?
Yes.
That is the new thing. And
some people are doing it for 5 pounds. They're giving themselves a hormone to change their appetite. And they're like, well, it's already naturally produced in the body, so it's fine. Okay, great, thanks. So why isn't your body already producing it? If it's so natural and it helps you control or curb your appetite, why isn't your body producing it for you right now in a manner that is helpful?
It's crazy because, it's so crazy. It's exactly what you said. It's this pick them up and put them down sort of mentality of like willy-nilly. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a pharmacist. I'm not an expert on those types of things. GLP-1, that's not what we do in Ayurveda.
But what we know is that if you're taking something that inhibits your hunger, you could be missing out nutrients that your body needs because you don't have a sensation you should have.
And you're messing with the master system of the body, which is the digestive system. I wouldn't be messing with the engine of a car or the transmission or anything not to compare the body to a car. It's more of a garden, but you know what I'm saying. It's you're messing with the
most people would understand car though.
I know most people would. So you have to be literally a bridge for these people. I can't.
Ayurveda, look at you.
I know that's why I named my company Bridge Ayurveda. Because it's you have to just bring them over, and the thing is that food is medicine. Food should be the number one medicine. I've seen people lose 5 pounds who have not had the scale move in years within a week, just from using food. Just from using food. That's it.
Me too. And one time, do you know how I got them to lose it? They were just over exercising, and I was like, "Look, put a spoonful of coconut oil in all your shakes that you do for the next week." And she lost 5 pounds within a week. And I was like, told you were just you were giving your body so little nutrition that it was holding on to stuff and didn't know what to do. It couldn't let go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, um, you know, I would say in the fitness world, I come across all kinds of weird things where I'm just like, wait, what? And then they explain it to me and they're like, well, I saw this on this website and then I heard this influencer say this. And so I combine the two and I'm like, no, that's not good.
Dude, I know. So social media can be a whole other thing. I was so scared because I was stuck in my Ayurvedic mentality. And I love this mentality of like what works for one person does not work for the next. And so when I was so scared of sharing certain types of information because it's like, all right, well, this worked for my client, but that doesn't mean that everybody who has skin issues is going to have them go away within a short period of time just from doing this one thing or just from eating in this one way or whatever else. But it did work for that person. And so I should share it. It is empowering. It is exciting. And so I should share exactly what has worked that I have seen work from my own perspective. And that is a way to spread Ayurveda that I feel like is good because you should like spread like cilantro juice or whey or pig's banana or whatever.
Well, right.
If you've seen it work. But of course you have to like use common sense. And these things are very mild, like whey and certain types of foods and stuff like that. Very mild, but you have to use common sense and just realize that they're not to be used like pick them up, put them down type of way. And they're not to be used in a way where you think, like, oh, this worked for this person, so it automatically will work for me. It might do a little bit, but it also might not. There's different things to do. Everybody's different. It's just common sense, you know?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I tell people this all the time. I started to understand the world, but I had no words for it. And then I found Ayurveda and Sankhya's philosophy. And then suddenly I was like, oh,
Right.
yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
And so Ayurveda in many ways was filling in the gap for me for things that I had already started to uncover. But it's easy to get swept up, right? Social norms are hard, right? There's a momentum in a specific direction that influences all of that, right? You know, like when people are young, they see the glamorous life and they want to do it. They want to go out, they want to go drink and have the fun and do the things, you know, and that's not every country and that's not everywhere. But you know, social norms have their own place. And so, you know, I always go back to people like, hey, did you get what you want out of that experience? Well, no. Okay, cool. So do you want something different? And if they say yes, I go, okay, cool. Let's look over here. And, you know, that's where it is. So some people have to go down the road as long as it takes until they're like, I want something different before they can make the change.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that ultimately speaking, I say this all the time, I think we should just be focused on moving towards a state of health rather than a state of disease. And there's certain things that keep mentalities and belief systems that really keep people in that disease state because all of their behaviors are based off of those belief systems.
1000%. And we know that the disease process perpetuates the disease process. It's a self-perpetuating engine, especially once it gets started. And so sometimes it's not that you mentally can't do it, it's that the disease process has to be cut off. Like you have to stop fueling it before you can change it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the number one way to do that, and then like the first shift anyone should make is in their food. It's mild. You eat food every day. So your food that you're eating every day is either bringing you closer or further away.
Could I argue one thing?
Yeah.
Dinacharya and then food. I would say Dinacharya and then food.
Yeah. I mean, both together, you know. That's usually what I do. I provide a dinacharya that has food infused in it. So basically, this is lunch, this is dinner, and it's like set on this certain time.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, so what I deal with a lot of people, especially at my studio, I'm sorry, I just like about ripped down every piece of equipment in front of me, is that I run into people who are like, well, I just don't have time in the morning for food, or I don't do food in the morning. And I'm like, cool. And so starting to build routines where you can start to incorporate things that aren't typically there. They call it Habit stacking, and that's a great way to start building. So say you brush your teeth, right? So you know you're going to brush your teeth. So drink a glass of water. Start drinking a glass of water before you brush your teeth. You know, like that would be a habit stack. If you're poor on dehydration or you're bad about drinking water, cool. Drink a glass of water, then brush your teeth every day. And once you get
Nice.
good at that, then you do floss, drink water, brush your teeth, or whatever order makes sense. But then you just start building it like Legos until you have the system. Like it's hard to go from one to the other immediately. So,
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you have to make it work for your lifestyle. If you don't have time in the
well, right.
morning, what
Like,
can
and
you
you
do in
know
five
that your
minutes?
Dinacharya was not manageable when you first had a baby.
Yeah, well, I had to change it. I had to change and that's a thing. It can't be a set thing all the time. Life is change, and we have
Dynamic.
to like
Yeah.
it. Like nature is dynamic, and so when we're not living in alignment with nature, then we have disease. And so if you're just stuck in one rigid way of doing something, that's going to bring you closer to disease. You have to be dynamic. You have to change with what life presents and what nature is presenting as well. There's the seasons change, time changes throughout the day. You know, like you have to adapt. You have to listen to your
Doshas change
body.
throughout the day.
Doshas change throughout the day. Like you have to listen to your body and adapt, make changes accordingly. And what's going on in your certain time of life too. Whether you're postpartum, pregnant, motherhood, first trimester, second trimester, breastfeeding, like
Perimenopause.
menopause.
Menopause.
Right, exactly. All of these menses, childhood, like you have to make changes
Sorry,
throughout life.
guys. Sorry, guys. We do have it a little bit easier as far as hormones and reactivities.
Yeah.
But that does bring me to my last topic before we jump off of here. You and I had talked about it beforehand. We are already behind the curve day in and day out. We live in a society, especially in the Western society. Not all of Eastern societies live out of accordance with the moon cycles, but we do. We have a year that's based around a 12-month Gregorian calendar. We only have 1 month that is based on 28 days, and every other one has a disbursement of a 13th month that actually exists within 365 days, right? There are 13 moons and 28 days for each one. And we live in 12 months that are various lengths and then have to adapt to that within a 60-minute, 60-minute, 24-hour day schedule. Like it's crazy. Like it doesn't make any sense. And so we're already living out of sync with nature because we're not living in a year that is organized the same way as nature organizes.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we should stop paying attention to that. And just
Well,
start paying attention to,
I mean,
you
but there
know.
are cultures who don't. Like the New
Yeah.
Year for the Jewish tradition is different. The Chinese celebrate on a different one, and theirs is a
Exactly.
13 and theirs is a 13 moon. India, they may follow our calendar to operate with us, but they still have all of their holy days wrapped around the moons,
Yeah.
and it repeats, and they celebrate that way. But that's not saying that India, even though we study Ayurveda, is a superior methodology. But I'm pretty sure what came out of there was because they were very intent on being in tune with nature. And so
Yeah.
these disciplines that evolved out of that are because of the tuning to nature. So anyway,
Yeah. Agreed.
yeah, I mean, I remember when I first learned that there was 13 moons, and then I was like, oh, they're 28 days. And I'm like, wow, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever that we're living so how we are. And then I thought about it too, right? Like it probably was all organized around taxation and, money.
There's some incentive, and it usually goes back to that one commodity.
I know.
Money.
Money. All right, friends. Well, hopefully we inspired you with some of the knowledge we were dropping and spitting so that you understand how easy and simplistic Ayurveda can be for your day-to-day life. And also that if you are suffering and or having challenges adapting to life and the way things are done, that's probably not unexpected. Like it's hard for our human nature, which comes from the natural world to adapt to these social things. And there's a lot of burnout and that people go crazy. And why wouldn't they? Like, we're trying to live unnaturally, and then we don't even give the body what it needs when it's going out of balance, right? And then we're like, well, why can't you be in balance? Huh? What's wrong with you? Huh? We mistreat people who are in the disease process in many ways.
Yeah, and sometimes they just need a helping hand, some guidance.
Well, right, like that person probably could get it together if they had 10 minutes to make paneer or whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, I could go into priorities.
Exactly. Well, it's like fitness, right? It's like you will make time for whatever's important to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's what you value, and that's cool. It's everybody.
And paying the bills is important, especially if you're on the verge of severe life changes. If you don't,
you gotta wherever you're at in your life is valid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why Ayurveda is simplistic, because you can just start with a routine day in and day out. And some of you naturally have found one. And some of you naturally found one. And some of you, your lives could be so much better within a week if you found a routine that resonated with you.
Yeah. True.
All right, friends. This was Ayurveda Digested, and we broke it down. I'm Nicholas.
And Bridge. Bye.